The morning sun barely pierced through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Solomon estate, but Lily was already at work. While others slept or sipped leisurely tea, she reviewed spreadsheets, invoices, and reports laid neatly across the mahogany desk in the quiet study Mrs. Grace had assigned her. Everyone assumed she was just a polite, kind visitor, an ideal companion for charity events and tea, but beneath that calm exterior lay a mind honed in finance, a degree earned with distinction, and an intellect no one had yet dared to challenge. Lily's eyes narrowed as she scrolled through the latest quarterly accounts of Grace Solomon Enterprises. Something didn't add up. Numbers that should have reconciled were off by millions, subtle discrepancies buried beneath layers of complex entries. Trusted auditors had given clean reports. Yet Lily, trained to read between the lines, noticed a pattern, a careful siphoning of funds hidden in plain sight. She leaned back, letting the silence of the room press against her. "This is bigger than I thought," she whispered, her voice barely audible. She had grown up learning that intelligence often went unrecognized, that quiet people were underestimated. She had faced it in school, in internships, and now here in the heart of one of the most powerful companies in the country. But she had also learned that courage paired with intellect could move mountains. Later that afternoon, Lily quietly pulled Mrs. Grace aside. "Ma'am, I think there's something wrong," she said, showing a carefully highlighted spreadsheet. "I ran the numbers again and again. Even the auditors missed it. Someone is siphoning money from the company, billions." Mrs. Grace's eyes narrowed, the first flicker of worry crossing her otherwise calm face. "Show me," she said softly, her voice steady but measured. The two women leaned over the desk, scanning the numbers together. The revelation hit them like a shockwave. A staff member, trusted for more than 20 years, had been quietly diverting funds into foreign accounts, using knowledge of the company's internal systems to cover their tracks. Every year, billions had silently vanished. Mrs. Grace's sharp mind catalogued every transaction. Lily's intuition had uncovered a trail no one else had dared follow. "This is betrayal," Mrs. Grace said, her voice a whisper. 20 years of loyalty, gone. She pressed her hand to her forehead, but there was no panic, only measured resolve. "We need to secure everything immediately. There's no time to waste." Lily nodded, already moving to gather evidence, backup documents, and secure digital records. She worked swiftly, her calm demeanor hiding the adrenaline rushing through her veins. Every second mattered. The staff member could notice any irregularity, and the repercussions could be catastrophic. But fate wasn't done testing her. That evening, a fire broke out near the estate's private wing, a suspicious blaze that spread rapidly, fed by a combination of old wiring and what appeared to be intentional sabotage. Smoke filled the corridors, alarms blaring. Staff shouted and ran, some clutching documents, others grabbing valuables. Lily's eyes widened as she realized the danger. The corrupt maid, dismissed weeks ago but secretly loyal to the fraudulent staff member, had returned to destroy evidence, documents, digital backups, anything that would expose the theft. The fire wasn't random, it was deliberate. She didn't hesitate. Ignoring the heat, smoke, and chaos, Lily sprinted through the corridors, grabbing folders, computers, and USB drives containing financial records. Her arms burned, lungs burned, but she moved with precision and courage. Staff members shouted for her to retreat, but she shook her head, determined to save not just evidence, but the house itself. Ethan arrived shortly after, alerted by security. Smoke poured from the east wing, flames licking the ceiling. Panic flashed across his face as he saw the chaos. And then he saw her, Lily, kneeling in the hallway, shielding stacks of financial documents from the fire, her hair singed at the ends, a determined glint in her eyes. Time seemed to slow. Tina, meanwhile, was frozen at the threshold, panic painted across her carefully manicured face. She had never faced real danger, never seen consequences so immediate or life so fragile. Ethan's heart sank, but not for Tina. He ran forward, grabbing Lily's elbow to help her steady the piles of documents, guiding her toward safety. For the first time, he fully recognized the woman he had so often ignored. She was not just kind, she was brave, capable, and crucial to everything he had taken for granted. His chest ached with a mixture of guilt and admiration. Once outside, the fire crews arrived, dousing the flames and securing the estate. Mrs. Grace, calm yet fierce, assessed the damage. "Thanks to her," she said, gesturing at Lily, "the company and this house are safe. If not for her, everything would be lost." Ethan barely breathed. He had watched Tina scoff at Lily, dismiss her, and even humiliate her in the past weeks, and now, for the first time, he saw clearly what he had ignored. Guilt gnawed at him, he had watched, said nothing, allowed arrogance to blind him. Now, everything he loved had been protected by the one person he had failed to notice. Tina, humbled but defensive, tried to approach Lily. "Well, that was lucky, I guess." Her tone dripped with discomfort, and Ethan's jaw tightened. He didn't want to hear excuses, apologies, or self-serving comments. This was the woman who had saved his world, and Tina's presence felt insignificant. Mrs. Grace, ever observant, turned toward Ethan and said quietly, "You see now. You've had the chance to pay attention, and now you understand the weight of quiet courage." Lily, soot-stained but unbroken, met Ethan's eyes. There was no triumph in her gaze, only calm, collected professionalism. She had done what needed to be done, not for recognition, not for praise, but because it was right. Ethan felt a shift inside him, a recognition that the world he had built, the relationships he had cultivated, and the life he had assumed was complete, was missing the essence of integrity, kindness, and courage that Lily embodied. The evening settled into a quiet hum as staff and security cleaned up the aftermath. Firefighters ensured no flare-ups remained, and investigators began their preliminary review of the incident. Mrs. Grace and Lily sat in the study, sipping tea, reviewing the salvaged documents, while Ethan lingered in the doorway, silent, guilty, captivated. Finally, he spoke, voice low and sincere. I don't know what to say. I watched you, and I didn't notice before." His words faltered. "You saved everything." Lily nodded politely, her expression neutral but kind. "It was the right thing to do." Ethan swallowed hard, realizing the enormity of her actions, not just the documents, not just the house or the company, but the courage and composure required to face danger head-on. All this while, he had been distracted, misled by appearances, and complicit in dismissing the one person who mattered most. Tina watched silently, her designer outfit now smudged with ash, her composure fractured. She had faced a challenge she could not control, a danger she could not mitigate, and a hero she had underestimated. Her world, so reliant on status and appearance, had shifted in an instant. Mrs. Grace leaned back in her chair, a faint smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "Some people bring beauty," she said quietly, gesturing at Tina, "others bring salvation." Her eyes flicked to Lily, full of approval and respect. Ethan felt his chest tighten. The realization hit him in waves. He had witnessed Tina's arrogance, but he had also just experienced Lily's courage and brilliance. The scales of admiration, respect, and attraction had shifted irrevocably. And as night fell, the city lights reflected off the estate's marble floors, Ethan knew one truth with clarity he could no longer ignore: Lily was not just a visitor, a friend, or an acquaintance. She was the kind of person who could change worlds, save fortunes, and protect what mattered most. Tina, meanwhile, slipped silently out of the room, her confidence shaken, her control slipping. Ethan barely noticed. For the first time, his attention, his heart, and his respect were fully, undeniably, with Lily. Some people bring beauty. Others bring salvation. The words lingered in the quiet of the estate, a testament to courage, integrity, and the beginnings of a bond that would change everything Ethan thought he knew about love, loyalty, and life itself.
I gave you pieces of my heart, thinking you would keep them safe. But truth has a way of rising, even through the cracks we fade. You promised we were fearless, but you chose to fight alone. Now I'm learning how to breathe again on the truth I call my own. 'Cause every secret has